Crafter, and look what I just bought. I got a good deal on this. I had to make a framing order, and it was one of those deals where, geez, if I spent $20 more, then my order was going to cost me 25 bucks less and I'd get free shipping. So I got this for 20 bucks. So, or, you know, if you want to use my crazy logic, free. But actually, yeah, 20 bucks. So I really like the packaging it comes in. As you know, back on my channel last year, I made a traditional gelatin plate, and then I messed with the recipe a bit and came up with a permanent gelatin plate. And I really wanted to try this to see how it would compare. So this, well, first opening it up, there's a clear plastic on each side, so you want to peel it off, and you're going to set that aside, and you're going to use that when you store it again. And of course I smell it, the first thing I do. And it doesn't smell anything like gelatin. It doesn't have that same smell that the high quality clear stamps have either, which also kind of smells like gelatin. This is just a very, it barely has any odor, and it is made with mineral oil, and some way plasticized mineral oil. It's a petroleum-based product, I do believe, and it's firmer than my homemade plate. It's also clearer. But it does have, it's a little bit firmer, but it does have a very similar texture. It feels kind of cool, actually. So what I'm going to do is just squeeze out some paint, and I've got a stack of nice copy paper, and I'm also going to do a few prints right in my art journal because I want to kind of make a background, and I just want to kind of see how that's going to work. And I'm using a soft brayer, but I'm using my soft brayer that has, you know, been stained basically with it's the one I usually use for whenever I'm doing like dye black ink, like if I'm using a photo stamp, this is the brayer I'm using because I do clean it, but it is so stained, so that's kind of what I'm using first. And I'm just gonna kind of get myself a little ombre stripiness going here. And I grabbed a bunch of things that I like to use. Oh, by the way, I took a workshop gelatin printmaking about 10 years ago. It's not a new process to me, so I just wanted to also say that in case, you know, you're wondering why she's not explaining, or she's just jumping in. How does she know how to do this? I've done that in the past. I kind of like this kind of ombre-ness I've got going here. I want a subtle blend, so I'm working it. You could roll it off on a scrap paper if you don't want the blend like that, so just keep that in mind if you're not happy with, you know, if you want it a little bit more, you know what I mean. No, you don't. If you want it more separated, the color separated more. So what I did here, this tip is from UK Mary Ann, and her blog is scrappystickyinky.com. Love her blog. She says she took fun foam and she cut it out with decorative scissors. So I did that too. I actually did it before, but I think I threw them away in one of my craft room cleanups. So what I'm going to do is just kind of squiggle on some designs here. Oh, this one looks fun. Maybe do like a little checkerboard. It looks nothing like a checkerboard. Just want to make some texture. And then I think I'll also, these came from the Dollar Tree, believe it or not. They're these little not stencils, they came with coloring pages, and then you could put these behind the areas you're coloring so you can get some texture. So they're just some little texture pads. So press that on a few times, and now I'm just going to use, actually, you know what? I think I'll do my first print right in my art journal on a fresh page. There we go. I will layer a few prints on that. So I don't know, since I'm not really pressing right on the back of the paper, this might not come out very well. Let's see though. Oh, that's kind of cool. And I will layer a few things on top of that, but I just wanted to get that there. Just so I could layer a few different things. And I'm just gonna brayer that out again. Maybe add another color. Let's see, I got my big bin of paint. I'll use this portrait pink here, just a little bit of that. And maybe a little bit more of the magenta color here. See what we get there. So you do end up going through quite a bit of paint with this, so you want to keep that in mind. I've used the inexpensive craft paints on my homemade one before, but I'm actually in between workshops right now. I'm doing a bunch of workshops down at the school with the 4th graders, and I had a 2-hour break, so I thought, you know what would be cool? I'm gonna go play with this for a little bit. Kind of oh, you know what? I kind of like just the way that my brayer's making those bouncy marks on there. I kind of like that, but it's kind of a little dull, so what I'm gonna do is grab a stencil. And, you know, I think this will kind of be fun in my whole mixed media thing. Now this is I told you about this before. I had cut some feathers for a turkey craft, and I really liked it, so I kept the scraps as reusable stencil, as disposable stencils. But when I use them with acrylic paint, each layer of acrylic kind of makes it a little bit more strong. So I'm on my way to making this a really nice permanent stencil. Alright, so let's see what we have here. So this will be one that I will print over as well. And I'm going to peel this back up. I have that super cool design, which I am going to also print on a fresh sheet of paper. This is this paper is actually Nina typing paper. It's the Classic Crest Super Smooth, but it's not the cardstock. I just love that. I think that's just such a cool look that's hard to duplicate any other way than with a printing thing like this. Alright, let's do a little bit of this periwinkle-ish color. This is actually light blue violet. And how about some violet? You're turning violet! You know what I did the other day? I downloaded I love audiobooks, and some of the audiobooks though I want to listen to are not really age appropriate if my kids are around. I downloaded the Roald Dahl collection, and it had Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it had James and the Giant Peach, and also the Fantastic Mr. Fox. That was right through our download library. So that was cool, and Roald Dahl actually narrated it, so I thought that was really, really cool. And it just brings me back to being in school, because our teachers always read his books. And I remember having my 5th grade teacher, who was German, read The Witches to us, which was just quite an experience, because with the actual German accent and being the, you know, the Witches, oh, it was fantastic. She did such a good job. All right, for this, I'm going to do another fresh piece of paper here. This is neat. And then I think, so we got that really cool quatrefoil that I know I would use for something or other. Pull this off. And I just have this sitting on one of those disposable, from the dollar store, those disposable cutting mats. And I actually might want to try going over this one, see how that looks, to go right on top of that. So this is just typing paper, so it will warp and wrinkle a little bit, but when I'm done, it'll be fine. If I'm going to tear it up a collage with it. Well, they probably covered it up a little more than I would have liked. But, you know, the only way you find out is by experimenting, and that's kind of curling, so I'm going to set that aside. I think I want to go in with some different, like maybe a more brighter pink. So, excuse me, well, let me just go and want to grab some of this red. And do I have any white handy? Ooh, what's this? Pearlescent tinting? I think I do want to try that. Thank you very much. That is weird. That's a medium. Ah, that's going to give me some sparkly bits. And, I'm sorry, this is probably quite dull. I didn't really plan anything out because I knew I was going to be busy today, but well, let's just spray that out and see what we get, I suppose. Yes, there we go. That's kind of pretty actually. So this will give me a little sparkly bits. And just decide whether I want it really smooth or not. Okay, so I think what I'll do is overprint on what I already had on my first journal, and I think I'll use this diamond design. And I want to kind of get it off the page because I want to cover my background on my journal with some cool printmaking. So there, that's kind of neat. This is going to be cool. I think that's going to be a cool journal page. That might be the one I work on for this week's Mixed Media Fun installment. That's just kind of a cool pattern. What I think I might do is put that there, you know, and you could actually even just wipe your paper down on the stencil that you just pulled off and print right from the stencil. That would be kind of cool. I wish my table was like 5 times bigger. I actually moved my chair so I could stand up here, and my chair's holding my paints. Oh wow, this is really neat. That's such a cool texture. I gotta uncurl that a little bit. I really like that. Just having the leftover residual paint there is kind of cool. All right, so something else we can do is just kind of drawing with some tools. I got one of my little soft tools here. Oh, there's my other one. I got these at Judykins last year. I want some yellow. I got them at Judykins a couple years ago at one of the stamp shows, and I really like them. They're a lot cheaper than getting the color shapers that are sold for artists. So sometimes if you buy something that's craft marketed, actually a lot of times if you buy it that's craft marketed, sometimes it's crappy, cheap student grade stuff, but sometimes you actually get stuff that's artist grade that is just cheaper because crafters typically won't pay the price that artists will. That's not always the case, but I mean, I think this was $5 or $6 for 2, and these things are expensive. They're like, you know, $10 each and more depending on the size you're getting. So I thought that was a heck of a deal. Now I think I do want that little kind of bouncing brayer. Look there. Oh, and you know what'd be kind of fun? And you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna grab a rubber stamp. Okay, I'm back. When I mentioned Judykins, I thought of a really cool technique that she had shared with us, and I'm just gonna stamp on a few just little keys here because I think that's cool. But she did this thing where she would like stamp and she would twist, stamp, twist, stamp, twist, and she would get the coolest, like this is a snowflake, but by twisting it I get a completely different look. So I wanted to try that. And then this is the butterfly, but then I could stamp, twist, and get something completely different. So that was Judykins. She's so fantastic, and that was something I learned from her booth at a stamp show a couple of years ago, and I wanted to try that. Now that I thought about it, she did it on glossy black paper with her inks. It was very cool. So let's see what we have here. That is kind of awesome. Now I think I could actually probably do another print from that. So I'm gonna try get a little bit on that edge of the journal there. I'm really enjoying that. That gives me just kind of an abstract texture. I didn't get as much as I got on the other with the stamps, but still very cool. And you want to make sure that you clean your stamps with like dish soap and like a toothbrush to really make sure you get all of the bits out of there if you're going to try that, because you don't want to ruin your rubber stamp, because if the acrylic paint dries in your stamp, it is going to ruin it. So please keep that in mind if you're going to try these crazy things. And maybe a little bit more of that yellow. And keep the yellow segregated from the purple a little bit, because I will end up with yuck if I don't. So hey, this is my first tryout with this Gelli plate. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a little bit more, it's more durable than the homemade one, the homemade permanent one I made. The advantage being to the homemade permanent one that I made is that if you did accidentally scratch it or nick it, then you can melt it down and repour it, whereas you couldn't do that with this, I don't think. I'm not going to try it. My experience with melting things in my oven I've decided that, yeah, I'm going to not do so much of the melting things in my oven. I had a interesting, well, I'll go to my blog and you can read all about it. My interesting melting experience. Okay, so I have that, but I think I also want maybe something over that. How about put some bamboo on there? I have no idea if this is going to be decent or not. We'll try it though. There, I'm going to be, it's so funny, like you go to teach a class with a lot of children. It can be draining, but it's also energizing. So here, this is very energizing. Okay, so you see the butterflies a little bit there. I'm gonna remove this and see what we have. And for these stencils with the acrylic paint, I'm just gonna let the paint dry. I'm not going to clean them. If it's ink, I clean it, because otherwise it will be reduced when I go to use it again, and it will get on my next project. But if it's acrylic paint, I don't, especially with my paper stencils, because it makes them more durable. Oh, isn't that awesome? I really like that. All right, so I need something. I want to finish up my journal page. I want to add another layer. I think that, why don't I try some green? What I'm going to do, I want to really clean off this. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I got my plate clean. I want to clean my brayer too, but I want to switch to, maybe I'll just switch to blue. I won't have to do anything too drastic. Maybe I will just clean my brayer off on something. I think I'll just roll it off on the print I just did with the bamboo, because it'll make it kind of interesting. So that's clean enough, I think. And I think I want some green, so what I'm going to do is use the blue I've been using, and I'll use the yellow. Just drop the paint cap. I will need to find that in a minute. So I'll make my own kind of weird, it'll probably be kind of a grayish green. Oh, I got some green here. I can use this green. That green's not very bright. Oh my, I'm all over the dull greens here today. So you never know. You never know what you never know what you're gonna get. You never know what you want to get. You never know what you want to do until you've started and you're doing it. And then, so I advise to just, if you want to try this, just to jump in and not to overplan it, not to think about it too much, just kind of get in there and have a good time. Okay, I like this kind of mottled look. I think I will use a, stencil. Let me find one that I want to use. I'm getting paint all over myself. Let's try this tree. And I want something else because that's not going to cover very much. Maybe this. And, oh, I don't know. Maybe this big circle one that I cut out using my stencil design from Lindsay Stamp Stuff. I need a scrap of another blank paper. You can grab quite enough. You will want to probably invest in a ream of inexpensive copy paper if you start this, because it's very addictive. Okay, I'm going to get the first generation off here, which isn't really decent. But then when I remove these stencils, I'm going to have a really cool texture, and that's going to go on my journal page. And I want to get it as close to the spine as I can without damaging my plate. Phew, I had this sitting on my floor. I got a dust bunny. That's not that surprising. There, so I've got that there. That kind of obliterated a lot. I might want to even go over that again. Let's, let me try actually pressing that back in there and removing it, because I just want that texture on there. Do it again over here. Yeah, this is definitely firmer than my homemade one. I still like it, but I like them both. Over that with that and see how this looks. So we're just about out of time here. I just thought this was so fun, such a fun project. That one's, I don't know, well, it's different. I go a little bit with this. Let's try a little purple on here. We'll get another print or two pulled before I have to get out the door to my next group of kids that I'm teaching, and before my video camera shuts off. Alright, let's do this. Let's throw a stencil on it. Let's try this big geometric one I made. Oh, my computer's talking to me. That's kind of cool. I like that bold geometric. And now I think I'm going to do that on my journal page as well, just to give it a little something. I might be overkilling it on the journal, I'm not sure. Oh, I do kind of like that. That is kind of fun. And now I'm thinking that maybe I will take my brayer and just kind of add some of this onto my journal, just to kind of fill in the white spots and give it a little more interest. And I could even use those stamps if the ink is still, if the paint's still painty on them, to add some texture to and help clean them off. Alright, well there you have it. My first experiment with the Gelli plate. I had a good time with this. I thought it was very fun. These aren't dry yet, so I'm not going to stack them together for too long. But I want to thank you for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this. Tune in for more mixed media fun. And until next time, happy crafting.